Good afternoon, everybody. I hope everyone's had a great week so far. Happy Tuesday. We are back cooking with Chef Steven, and we have a treat for you. We have some steak. We have a nice strip steak. It's going to go with a nice creamy mushroom sauce, and it's going to be delicious. Let's get right to it. Of course, we have our strip steak. We have some rosemary here. We have a couple cloves of garlic, some Dijon mustard, some creme fraiche, or if you cannot find creme fraiche, you can use sour cream. We have a mix of porcini and portobello and crotini mushrooms. We have a little bit of butter, quarter stick of butter, some actual minced garlic, salt and pepper, and olive oil. Let's get right to it. I'm gonna go ahead and put our skillet on to get it nice and hot. And we want to start this out very simple. I don't know if you can see everything. I always do that. Why do I set everything up and then have to move it? I'm gonna have to get me like a stage director or somebody that's gonna tell me, no, not like that, chef. You know, something of that nature. All right. Looking pretty good. All right. We have our steak here. We have our skillet getting nice and hot. We're going to go ahead and just simply season it. Salt and pepper. You have some nice kosher salt. Don't be afraid to press it into the meat, penetrate the meat. You have a little bit of water. I like to put water in my skillet because as the water disappears, it lets you know that the skillet is ready for you. So once all that water evaporates, I see I missed a couple spots with the salt. Yeah. All right. We're going to go ahead and let that water evaporate out of the skillet. And then we're going to hit this with some extra virgin olive oil. Real simple. Heavier than you would normally because we are going to take an entire sprig of rosemary and we're going to drop it in there. And then we have our 2 whole cloves of garlic we're going to add in there. And then as those flavors kind of permeate the oil, then we're going to take our steak and lay it right down inside. Yum, yum, give me some. All right. Then we're going to come over here, a little bit more salt and pepper on this side. Salt and pepper's here. Salt, 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 salt. All right. We got our salt and pepper. We're going to let that bad boy go for just a little while. Yummy, yummy. Give me somey. Let me get some stuff together while I'm get ready for that. Okay, perfect. This should be up high because you want to get a nice sear on your steak before you flip it. Flip it, boom, boom, flip it good. Now, the browning of your steak is actually the sugar, the protein sugars browning is called Maillard browning, and that is the physical change that takes place when the heat meets the meat. It gets harder, but also if it's seasoned right, it sears it and it makes it delicious. Some people say it locks in the flavor. There is no scientific proof of that. That's what we're told in mostly every place you go to cook, but just know it tastes really good. We got a little bit more to go. You want it nice and brown. Don't press your steak. Don't misuse your steak. We're going to flip it over here. And then I'm going to take this entire thing And I'm gonna put it inside of a 375-degree oven. And guess what's waiting for us? Oh, that steak that was in the oven. Oops, almost grabbed the same steak I just put in there. If y'all missed that, that was funny. All right, I laughed at myself. Okay, so what we're gonna do now, we're gonna remove this steak and we're gonna let it rest. You wanna take your rosemary out. That's pretty much done. It looks kind of like a dead Christmas tree thing going on there. So you wanna get rid of that. And then we're going to put it back on our skillet, but I'm gonna turn the skillet down to almost to like a simmer, all right? All right, now, this is very hot. Got the oils and everything. The skillet, be careful when you're doing this, not to forget that this just came out of the oven, so the handle is very hot. I'm gonna go ahead and remove it from the heat. I'm gonna add some of this white wine to deglaze the pan. And basically what that's gonna do is it's gonna take all the yummy nummies off the bottom, everything that was cooked, and it's going to basically raise it off of the bottom of the skillet. And when it takes it off the bottom of the skillet, it comes into the wine and it begins to make flavors. And Patrick is smiling already. Tell you what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go ahead and put the rest of this inside the freezer for Patrick. And he's right. It does smell amazing in here all of a sudden. Oh yeah, wow. Oh my God. I smell it now. I'm sorry, Patrick, for judging you. That smells amazing. So glad I did it. All right, so we're gonna go ahead now and we're going to begin building a sauce. We're gonna take I'm keeping this on because that's still hot. I know it is. I'm gonna add my quarter stick of butter in there. I'm gonna add my garlic in there now. Then I have another sprig of rosemary. And I'm gonna take my time and I'm just gonna kind of pluck. You can cut it if you want to, but I want to feel, it's like when I'm doing this cooking, it's like my romantical time. So I like to, she loves me not. All the way to the bottom. I do weird stuff like that when I'm cooking by myself. But you can put that all inside, and you can increase the heat now because you want to bring that up. If you're wondering why do I have that steak over to the side getting cold, that's not what's happening. It's actually resting. When you cook a steak, have you ever had a steak that tastes like cardboard? It tastes just like this cutting board is sitting on. That's because someone probably cooked it, and then when they took it off the heat, they cut it immediately. And what they don't realize is that all the juices inside of the steak, they're doing just like a pot of boiling water. So all the juices are doing like this inside of the steak. And if you cut it right now, they're just gonna escape out. But if you let the steak rest, if you let it come down just a little bit from boiling to just normal hot, the juices will soak back inside of it and you'll have a very juicy, delicious steak. And that's what you want. All right, I can almost touch this handle again. All right, so let's go ahead now and let's add our mushrooms and let's start stirring up this delicious sauce. Oh yeah. Now mushrooms and spinach, they reduce, so don't worry about that. See, even right now, it's gonna soak up all that wine into our mushroom and all the butter that's still there. And this is a good time to add a little bit of seasoning. because, like I just said, mushrooms are sponges, and you want it to sponge up flavor. Flavor, salt, and pepper. Incorporate all that. Got a piece there. You don't want anything to escape from this pot. There it is. All right. You can barely see any liquid now. Look, those sponges got to it. All that, everything that we were saying, smells so good, now it's inside of those mushrooms. And that's gonna taste really good. In, in just a moment. Ha ha. Let's go ahead now. Let's add our Dijon mustard.
Somebody extra hungry tonight, Pastor?
Tonight? Yeah, right. Joke's on you. Creme fraiche. Big budget here on this show, guys. Creme fraiche. Clean as you go. All right. And we're going to get all that going. We want to get it nice and saucy. All the juices kind of got sopped up. Yeah, see how quick that happened? This is going to be amazing. You don't even know. You don't even know, sir. And then the recipe said to chop up the spinach. I didn't want to chop up my spinach. I like my spinach whole. And I also don't like as much as the recipe called for, even though I know it's going to shrink. So I'm just gonna coat the top like that. Believe it or not, that's not a lot of spinach at all. I'm gonna let the mushroom shine today. Keep shining, keep dining, knowing you will always count on me. For sure. Why am I singing? What? Does that song? That doesn't go with this, with this dish. Okay, sorry guys. I get a little bit besides myself. Okay. And we are about to make the magic happen now. As soon as we get this nice, it's nice and hot underneath. You guys can't see it, but I can. We're gonna wilt the spinach in there really nicely. And then I'm gonna put it all together for you. So now I think that my steak is actually ready to be cut. I'm gonna let this spinach keep doing what it's doing for now. And I'm gonna begin to work on my plating. Okay. So when you have your knife with this bad boy, I want you to think kind of like a fajita. So we're gonna, it's nice and hot still. I'm gonna cut at a biased 4. Yeah, this is gonna be nice. All right, let me take this whole thing and we're gonna put it on our, and then we're gonna kind of fan it out. And you guys can't hear it, but the door is opening because people are ready to eat. Cutting, someone's asked what is cutting on the biased. So I took the steak and I cut it kind of at an angle. Instead of me taking my knife and going straight down like this, I took my knife and I slanted it and cut in. So it was cutting at an angle. That's cutting at a biased. Someone asked what is cutting at a biased. So Good question.
Do you ever tent your steak to keep it warmer while you're making the other stuff?
Do I ever tint it?
Yeah.
No.
Or something?
There's
No.
there's nothing wrong with that. I've gotten a little bit better with kind of like restaurant timing. So if I have to tint it, then something else for me went very wrong with my timing. Unless maybe if I was having to tint something, then more than likely I knew that I was gonna do that, and I would just par cook it, which means I would cook it halfway to save me time later when I wanted to heat it back up or cook it further. This is amazing. Oh my God, you guys don't even know. All right, here we go. Look at this. Now I'm gonna just I still want my steak to show, so I'm gonna change my plating up just a little bit so that it kind of goes off to one side. Oh my God. You know how good oh my goodness. Look at that. That's what daddy likes. That's what mommy likes. That's what the kids like. Everybody likes it. Somebody's happy because he's about to eat, guys. And you can kind of serve that any way you like. Any questions, comments, or concerns?
I have one more question, and I hope this isn't gonna keep Patrick from eating. But you put your pan into the oven, and I think you're using a nonstick pan. I thought you weren't supposed to put those in ovens.
No, I've never heard that. You can't put a nonstick pan in the oven. That would be new for me. Especially. I have put very cheap pans in the oven. I've put very expensive pans in the oven. I remember once when I was first kind of like self-teaching myself to cook before I went to culinary school, before I had any experience, and I put a skillet in the oven, and my girlfriend at the time was like, "What are you doing? You putting the skillet in the oven?" And I was like, "You put aluminum pans in the oven, and that's a lot stronger than an aluminum pan." And she was like, "Oh, guess you're right." So I've never heard anything about that, and it helps with the cleanup too. Like, look at all that I made, and I really just used one skillet. And you could do this with two steaks as well. So, dinner for two.
Thanks, Chef. It's a
Yeah.
lot lighter than my cast iron pan.
Well, if there are no further questions, comments, or concerns, we don't want to keep Patrick from his meal. I'll, yes, question. What can you use instead of wine? Are you trying to avoid the alcohol? If you're trying to avoid the alcohol, there are actually non-alcoholic wines on the market. If you go to some place like Total Wine, they can probably give that to you, or you could get any kind of light or no sugar added fruit juice, because you're just deglazing the pan, so you're gonna give it just a pop of something. You're not gonna put a very much in there, and it'll actually probably you could put apple juice, and I promise you, it's not gonna taste bad. It's gonna taste real good. All right. All right, guys. Well then, I'll catch you again next week. Same chef channel, same chef time. I said that backwards, didn't I? I'll see you. Bye, guys.